Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast. This week we have All-Star Rosters announced, the Yankees stink again, and we have an interview with Thomas Zipperer of the No Redeeming Qualities podcast right now.
9 Plus Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast, Baseball Family. I am Brad, and I am actually flying solo this week because Brig and I failed to plan what we were doing this week. So he's doing his thing, and I'm here doing the podcast for you guys. So here we go. Let's get into things that we have coming up right now. We had All-Star Rosters announced this last weekend, and it's fun. It's great. I love watching the All-Star Game. I love watching the Home Run Derby. I think the Home Run Derby, I said this last year, I think 2 years ago as well, is the best All-Star event across all major sports. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't watch hockey, so I don't know. I understand there are some great things going on with the NHL with All-Star Weekend and whatever they do, but in my opinion, nothing beats the Home Run Derby. It's fun and it's exciting. I mean, it's what we all want to see. We all want to see these guys doing what we can't do. I mean, we can all go out there and try to make as many three-pointers as we want. We can go lower the hoop and dunk a little bit, but I feel like the home run is something that is really tough to do. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. But let's look through the rosters real quick. We have the American League. The starters, we have Salvador Perez behind the plate, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first base, Marcus Semien at second base, Rafael Devers at third, Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, Mike Trout, who is actually injured, Aaron Judge and Teoscar Hernandez were named the outfield starters. And then we got Shohei Ohtani, who will be DHing and pitching. He's the first player in the history of Major League Baseball to do that in the All-Star Game. So that's going to be exciting to watch. We have our reserves. My guy, Mike Zunino. I am incredibly excited about that. So happy for that guy. He deserves it. Jose Altuve at second base, Bo Bichette and Carlos Correa are the shortstops. Matt Olson at first base, Jose Ramirez at third base. Oh, Jared Walsh at first base as well. That was kind of broken up in the list, not sure why. Anyway, Michael Brantley, Joey Gallo, Adolis Garcia, Cedric Mullins rounding out the outfield reserves, and then J.D. Martinez and Nelson Cruz are the reserve designated hitters. So that's the American League. Mike Trout will need to be replaced, obviously, because he's injured and has been for some time. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. I'm honestly not sure who they're gonna pick to fill in for him to take that spot. Let's see here. Then we've got pitchers. Got Shane Bieber, who is also injured, will need to be replaced. Garrett Cole, Nathan Eovaldi, Kyle Gibson, Yusei Kikuchi, my guy from Seattle. Awesome to see him there. Lance Lynn, Carlos Rodon, and then relievers Matt Barnes, Aroldis Chapman, Liam Hendricks, Ryan Presley, and Gregory Soto. Let's go over to the National League. We've got Buster Posey behind the plate. Glad to see him back in an All-Star game. Freddie Freeman at first base. Adam Frazier at second base. Nolan Arenado at third base. Fernando Tatis Jr. at shortstop, Ronald Acuna Jr., and Nick Castellanos and Jesse Winker are in the outfield for the National League. Reserves got JT Realmuto, Ozzie Albies, Chris Bryant, third base, Brandon Crawford at shortstop, Jake Cronenworth at second base, Eduardo Escobar at third base, Max Muncy at first base. Not sure what's going on there, but that's just me. Trey Turner at shortstop, Mookie Betts, Brian Reynolds, Kyle Schwarber, who is injured, Juan Soto, and Chris Taylor round out the outfield. We've got pitchers, Corbin Burns, Yu Darvish, Jacob deGrom, Kevin Gausman, Herman Marquez, Trevor Rogers, Zach Wheeler, Brandon Woodruff are the starters, and relievers. We got Josh Hader, Craig Kimbrell, Mark Melancon, and Alex Reyes. Those are your All-Stars. Like I said, we've got a couple guys who are injured. Schwarber, the Biebs, Shane Bieber, and Mike Trout are all injured. Looks like Jacob deGrom is not interested in pitching in the All-Star game, so he'll likely be replaced. The Mets will need somebody to replace him. Probably will be Taijuan Walker, to be honest. He's been outstanding for them. Like I said, I'm not sure who's going to replace Mike Trout. I don't know who's going to replace Shane Bieber necessarily. I don't really have any ideas on those, but something to keep an eye out for. If you have guys who you think on your team were snubbed, like for me, for instance, I think J.P. Crawford deserved to be, and that was mostly just like Brig and I were saying last week. I don't want guys from my team going to the All-Star game because it's a chance for them to rest for a few days, get a few days off. I mean, every team has to have a representative, right? So I guess Kikuchi, go ahead and send him. He's the most deserving because he's really been the ace for the Mariners pitching wise. He's been outstanding, absolutely amazing. And so it's his third year in the league, his second full year because of the COVID shortened season last year. But good for him to get to go to the All-Star game. I would have liked to see J.P. Crawford because he was deserving. But this is the problem they have in the American League is that shortstop is a deep position. I've been talking a lot of basketball lately because the playoffs have been going, but I mean I likened it to the same problem the NBA's had for probably the last decade or so, that your team has an all-star worthy point guard, but he's not getting into the All-Star game because the guard position has been so deep in the NBA, especially in the West for the last 10 years. There's no way that the fourth, fifth guy down who deserves to be he's not gonna make it because it's just so many. And right now, shortstop position in the American League is just outstanding. I mean, like I said, you got Xander Bogaerts starting, and then Bo Bichette, and then Carlos Correa. I would put J.P. Crawford in the top 5 right now, but Tim Anderson's probably the other guy, in the top 5, but. It's tough. It's tough right now for a guy like J.P. Crawford who plays in a small market and isn't well known to get into the All-Star game. So I don't know. Maybe he'll be reserved. Probably not. But if he has another year like this next year, maybe he'll get in. But those are just my thoughts. But baseball family, if you have somebody who you would have liked to seen in the All-Star game or is there and doesn't necessarily deserve to be, send us a message in the mailbag. Go to baseballtogether.com and click submit to mailbag. Submit to the mailbag in the top there in the navigation, and you can send us an email and we'll share those thoughts next week during our All-Star Game episode. Honestly, the only guy I see on here I don't feel like is worthy, or I don't want to say worthy, but isn't up to everybody else on the roster is Aroldis Chapman, and he's been really bad lately. He's just, I don't feel like he's an all-star this year, but that's just me. I mean, I don't know, but that's where that's where I would go with that. But anyway, all right, we got the trade deadline coming up, end of the month. We are in the final 30 days, well, within the last 30 days before we get to the trade deadline. And remember, there's no secondary deadline with waivers, things like that. When the trade deadline passes, it's done. There are no more backdoor deals going on around MLB. So we have this coming up. The one thing, first off, let me just say this. I'm not going to sit here and say, give you guys predictions or trades that I think should happen, just because I don't want to be the guy who, the Seattle fan who's saying, oh, we should trade 2 prospects from Everett, high A to Colorado for Trevor Story, or I don't know, some pitcher, I don't know what, for Jacob deGrom, to the Mets, because I'm not a professional. That's not what I do. I'm not here to put trades out there for you. However, I say Trevor Story because his name did come up. So I was reading through some stuff, and I saw that the White Sox are interested in Trevor Story. Now, the way I feel about this is, you see this a lot, especially in free agency. You see teams are, they're interested in this guy. It's like, well, yeah, I've been interested in Natalie Portman since I first saw The Phantom Menace in 1999. It doesn't mean anything's going to happen with it. But I know that the White Sox have a little bit more power because they could put together a trade package for the Rockies, and who are like, oh yeah, we'll take that and we'll send Story your way. He does not have a no trade clause, so he has to go wherever he is sent. That being said, the White Sox have an all-star caliber shortstop. They have Tim Anderson. And you're going to move Trevor Story to second base? I read that was what they want to do. I don't I don't know. I don't know. That's tough. And I know that, with the shift and everything, that second base and shortstop, they are a lot more interchangeable these days than they used to be. It used to be the guy who had the worst arm on the field, you put at second base. And in Little League, the worst player on the field, you put in second base, contrary to the popular belief of right field. You put him at second base, he's got somebody to back him up. But anyways, I don't know that I would necessarily put Trevor Story at second base. He's a very, very good shortstop. And you'd be putting a lot of talent to waste there. And I use the term putting it to waste. I use it very lightly. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know that the White Sox are necessarily going to be willing to give up the pieces that they would have to pick up Story. I know they got some injuries they're dealing with, so those are some guys who they're not going to be able to trade. I mean, they're like ready to win, right? So who are you going to send to Colorado for Trevor Story? White Sox fans, let me know. Let me know who you think would be part of a good trade package. And I don't want to say, like I said, we got two really good guys down in high A who would make a great trade package for Trevor Story. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. That's not how that works. Maybe a double A or triple A guy, a couple of those guys, but I don't know. I saw that and I just thought it was funny. I had to address it because it legitimately made me laugh. But all right, so let's move on to the Yankees. I said before the whole thing even got started, the Yankees stink again. And man, I kept telling Brig, I'm like, at least your team's over 500. I mean, the Mariners are still over 500, so I'm ecstatic right now. But the Yankees were sitting over 500 for a long time, and he said, I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, he said something like, but it's more than that. It's that there are major issues in the clubhouse, in the dugout, like in the front office. There are some major issues, and it really came to light this last weekend. The Yes Network played a soundbite from Hal Steinbrenner. I think it was before the game on Sunday. Briggs sent this to me. And it was Hal Steinbrenner basically saying, like, this is on the players. The responsibility is on the players in this situation. They're not trying. They're giving up is basically along the lines of what he said. And I was like, man, that's brutal. And, like, he's not wrong. The players need to be held responsible for what's going wrong with the team. Because, I'll go back to the Mariners real quick just because I'm a Mariners fan, for those of you who don't know, and have probably figured it out by now. But a lot of people I see on social media, a lot of people are calling for Scott Servais to be fired. And I don't know why. I don't get it. Because the Mariners come back often from being down early. And not just like a few runs. Like, they'll come back from being down 6-7 runs. A team with a manager who deserves to be fired will not do that. Because a manager deserves to be fired when his voice is no longer being heard in the clubhouse. And, you can have a winning manager after 5-6 years, and then that 7th year hits, and everybody's just like, okay, I'm done with him. I've seen it happen in Seattle with Pete Carroll. A lot of guys say, yeah, he's a college coach because he tells the same story every 3 years. Because he's used to college cycling through those guys. You get to the NFL, you stick around 3-4 years and you get sick of it. You stop listening to him. And it's the same thing in basketball. Eventually, the same points, driving home the same points, get old, and it happens in baseball. We've seen it. And guys will give up on their manager when they're ready for the team to move on. They'll be down 5-6 runs and they'll just quit on him. And I'm not saying that any team that gets blown out has quit on their manager. You can see when teams quit. You can tell. It's getting down 3-4 runs and not trying to take an extra base on a ball hit shallow in the gap. It's not coming hard around third base and trying to score on a ball that you have no business scoring on. I've seen Kyle Seager do that several times over the last couple weeks. He's gotten thrown out, but I don't care. Try to score. And the fact that he was coming around third base with not a whole lot of speed, by the way, trying to score on a ball that he had no business scoring on, that he was willing to try to get his body into that next gear and score for his team, for his manager, it shows me that these guys haven't given up. In New York, from what I understand, it looks like this team has given up on Aaron Boone. And the problem that they're having is the front offices, they're putting it on the players because they're saying that it's their fault they're losing. And it probably is because they may have given up on Aaron Boone. But if that's the case, you've got to get rid of Boone. You got to make some trades because you've got to bring in guys who are willing to play. And and maybe Boone is that first move. Get rid of Boone, bring in, some interim manager who can say, all right, you know what, guys, we're just going to stay afloat for the rest of the season. We're going to do the best we can. And guys are like, you know what, fresh voice at the helm. Let's follow him. Let's win for him. Just a little bit of a change. That's all we care about. That's all we need. Just some change. But it could be that these guys are just sick of Brian Cashman. Maybe they're sick of the way Cashman's running things. So they're still not going to play. In that case, either Cashman's got to go or they've got to start dumping players and find guys who are going to play and who are going to win. And, I mean, New York is a mess. The Yankees are a mess, and they need to – I mean, honestly, if I was Cashman, I'd option the first guy I could. If there's somebody on that team who, I mean, actually they did it. They did it with Wade. I saw somebody refer to him as a magazine model because he's just so pretty. As Tyler Wade was optioned back down to the minor leagues the other day, and maybe that's a message that they're like, okay, you know what? If you have not reached veteran status to be that you can't be optioned down to AAA, you got a short leash, you can go. And guys who don't have a big contract, you're at risk of being designated for assignment. Anybody who I can trade, I will trade you. That's the message that I would send to Cashman. And some of those guys, maybe they do want out. Maybe Giancarlo Stanton wants out. He wanted to go to New York in the first place, but he has not played well since he's been there. And I guarantee that they can make a deal. They can cut a deal with somebody that if he needs to be traded, he can be traded. There is somebody who's going to be willing to take on some portion of that contract. And if the Yankees are like, you know what, we'll pay him for the rest of the year, there's going to be somebody who's going to take on that contract because they're going to want Stanton in their lineup. Because as inconsistent as he has been over the last few years, as injured as he has been in the last few years, that is a big fat bat to have in your lineup. He's still dangerous. Stanton is still dangerous, and just having the potential of a guy like that coming through for you in the 8th or 9th inning when you need it. He's only got to do it once. He's only got to do it one time in a playoff game, and your investment is paid off, in my opinion. But that's just the way I see it. So the Yankees are a mess. Expect some. I would think expect some deals to be made over the next couple weeks. This is the last thing about the Yankees. Garrett Cole was booed off the mound after 3 1/3 on Sunday. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad. He didn't pitch well. Like I said, 3 1/3, gave up 6 hits, walked 3, gave up 4 runs. He did strike out 6, but Cole, we've seen a steady decline since the sticky substance crackdown has come, and he says it's hard to hold on to the baseball. It's so hard to hold on to the baseball. So I mean, he's obviously been majorly impacted by this, and maybe some of it is mental because of the mess that's going on in the clubhouse. I don't know, but those things compounding together seem like they're not going well for Garrett Cole. That's enough about the Yankees. Let me take a drink. Let's talk Brett Phillips. Can I just say Brett Phillips is my favorite non-Mariner these days. That guy just loves baseball so much, and you can see it in the way that he plays, and it's fantastic. It's so fun to watch. A couple weeks ago, he got hit by somebody, one of his buddies from the minor leagues, and he acted like he was going to charge the mound. Umpire came out and got in front of him, and he's like, "No, man, I'm just kidding." He's laughing all the way down to first base, and it's like he's playing city ball again, right? Like he just loves playing baseball. He still loves the game, obviously, and he's having fun doing it, like everybody else should be, and it's great to watch. Personally, one of the things I love most about it is that it's a great example for kids. That these guys are making a whole bunch of money playing baseball, but they still are doing it because it's fun. He got to pitch over the weekend because the Rays were down 10-1 at the time that he came in the bottom of the 8th inning to the Blue Jays, and they showed him in the bullpen. First they showed him before they brought him in, and he was standing at the fence waving like, yeah, you ready for me to come in? Just ecstatic. He was so excited to come in. And then they showed, going into the commercial break, they showed him warming up. They showed him warming up in the bullpen. And let me tell you, watching him warm up in the bullpen, and in fact the way that he threw on the mound as well, that is why I did not get to pitch in City League. The one time, like, I got to pitch a couple times when I was like 9 or 10, whatever. But when I got older, 15, 16, I asked one time if I could pitch. Asked my coach, and we were doing a bullpen session. I was a catcher, so that was something I did, all the time with these guys. And finally, my coach came over, and I was like, "Hey, can I pitch this weekend?" He's like, "Well, let me see what you got. Let me see your windup." I was like, "All right, yeah." And I had no desire to pitch. If he's gonna let me pitch, this is exactly what I was gonna do. But so I wound up. It was really, really low key wind up, but I basically did what Brett Phillips did. I threw my arm up and threw my other hand way down to the ground. Threw my left foot as high as I could in the air and went right over the top. Phillips was throwing the ball 47, 50 miles an hour, and mine might have gotten that because I put so much effort into kicking and basically starfishing out that there was nothing on the ball. My coach was like, "No, never do that again. You will never pitch for me." I said, "That's fine. I don't care." But Brett Phillips reminded me of that. I saw that. I sent it to Brig. I was like, "This is why I never got to pitch." So it's fantastic. It was so funny to watch. If you haven't seen it, we actually shared the whole clip. His entire outing, if you want to call it that, quote unquote outing, was put on MLB's Facebook page. I shared it to our 9+ Us VIPs page. So if you're a member of the group, go check it out. If not, send a request. We'll add you, and you can check it out there, or just go to MLB's Facebook page. Either way, it's good. It was entertaining. His first pitch he threw out. The gun said that it was 94 miles an hour. I don't know. Everybody's like, "Is that real?" It was a little high, and then after that, he took it down. He cut it in half to about, like I said, 47, 48. I think he topped out at 50 after that. He was just kind of lobbing them in there. He got out of, gave up a couple hits, a couple walks, one run, and then got out of it. It was fun to watch. He was exciting. He was having fun, and that's what it should be about. That's what it should all be about. And it was great. It's a guy who's getting blown out and still seeing the joy in the game. It's awesome. All right, last thing here. Last thing before we get into this interview with Zipp. So, the San Francisco Giants have released their City Connect jerseys. I think they're outstanding. Nike knocked it out of the park with these. They look so good. So they're white. So basically the theme is San Francisco, Golden Gate Bridge, and fog, right? So everything has a little bit of like white, I guess a white gradient coming up from the bottom. The numbers have some white coming up from the bottom. On both sleeves, you've got an orange. And let me start with this first. The jerseys themselves are white. The whole uniform is white. Look great. The numbers are orange, like I said, with that gradient. On both sleeves, they have an orange silhouette of the Golden Gate Bridge with like that white gradient on the bottom. It looks just like fog. It looks outstanding. It looks great. The front just has a G on the left breast, no number, just plain. It's like everything below the bottom of the G is covered in fog. Same gradient coming up. The hats are my issue here. The jerseys themselves look great, but the hats are where I take issue with this whole thing. They are the same orange as the numbers all the way across. You've got the logo in orange with a white outline. Too much orange. I'm not a fan of the color orange. I've said this before. The hat is too much orange. And then on the right side, there is a white silhouette of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's too much. The Golden Gate Bridge there is too much for me. It looks like some kind of special edition hat that you would get at Lids, not something that you would see on a major league field. So that's one of the reasons that they just went too much with the bridge on the right side of the hat there. It's just if you're watching on YouTube, Baseball Family, I'm just pointing to right here. Just this whole panel on the right side is the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's like I said, it's too much. I like the jersey, not the hat. I can do without that. So. Overall, I'd have to probably give the whole thing a 7. The hat doesn't take away too much. I mean, it's a good pop of color against the really, really white jersey. because the jersey itself is pretty minimalist. But the hat standing alone is not good. I give the hat alone like a 1, maybe a 2. But anyway, all right. Let's get into this interview. Let's take a break. We have Thomas Zipperer of the No Redeeming Qualities podcast.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back with me. Root, root, root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Shop kids' baseball shirts at 9pluss.com.
Welcome back, baseball family. We are joined today by Thomas Zipperer of the No Redeeming Qualities podcast. Welcome, Thomas.
Howdy.
Thanks for joining us today. All right, so we're going to do like the same thing we do with all of our guests.
Yeah.
We're going to treat Thomas with a rundown.
Okay, here we go.
It's going to be awesome.
First question for you. What is your quest?
Like in life?
Just what's your quest?
What's your quest?
Okay. My quest is to tell the greatest story ever told. Right now that's the Bible, but I'm gonna top it. So
Yes.
I like it.
Supported. All right. Thomas, what is your favorite color?
Purple, actually.
Oh,
It's royalty.
wow.
It used to be illegal. It used to be illegal for non-royalty to own purple things. So all my bed sheets are purple and my drapes are purple. So
That's a good reason.
That's great.
That's a great reason to wear purple. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
All right. If the Houston Astros, for those who don't know, that is his team. If the
Correct.
Houston Astros were a beverage, what would they be?
oh goodness. I would say probably a St. Arnold's a St. Arnold's beer. If you're not familiar with what that is, that's a local Houston brewery. And
Nice.
they've got just one of the St. Arnold's.
Would there be a particular style? Are we going malt forward? Are we a hoppy type experience? Probably really bitter, I would imagine.
I prefer a nice dark beer. I'm not a big IPA guy. Like hops are just I don't know. I don't get the appeal.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. If you were going to name your dog after a player, current or former, what are you naming your dog?
Oh, Bagwell, Jeff Bagwell.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, there's no hesitation.
Yeah.
there.
No, there was none.
No hesitation. Yeah,
So do you
Pretty
have a
much,
dog
yeah.
named Bagwell?
I don't. I
Oh,
don't
no.
have a dog.
Yeah,
I don't.
and we'd like to meet him. That's awesome.
What is your ideal piece of baseball memorabilia?
Oh man, are we talking like something specific or?
Yes, the most
Okay.
specific.
And cost is no issue.
Cost is never an
Okay.
issue.
Well, before the cheating scandal, it would have been a 2017 World Series ring. But now that that's been tainted, I would settle for either the 2005 National League ring champion or the 2019 one, because I guess that's less sullied.
Mm.
I
Accurate.
really, really so badly wanted you to say a trash can from 2017.
I am so tired of hearing about trash cans.
I bet you are.
And you know what's oh sorry, we'll finish the rundown.
Okay, we will, but we're gonna get into
Okay,
that.
sorry.
Don't worry, because you need to get on your soapbox a little bit. It's good.
I do.
All right, my question for you is, if you could assign a flavor of ice cream to baseball itself, what would it be?
Oh goodness. You know, as much as I love baseball, it would have to just be vanilla because baseball just like it just can't help itself. It just has to be like it's the only sport that punishes personality. So yeah, vanilla.
Yes.
We had this very same conversation not 5 hours ago.
Not even vanilla bean, not fresh vanilla.
Nothing with
Not even like it's got to be the big plastic jug with the handle that you get.
That's the Bluebell. Like you've been eating it since you were 7. It's like in a Homer's all-purpose 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, once you're eating the food by the bucket, that's when you're.
You got a problem. You got a problem.
Fantastic. Okay, Thomas, what is the name of your yacht?
I'm sorry, say that again. It broke out.
What is the name of your yacht?
Oh my oh goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I don't know. I've never actually thought about having a boat. You know what? I would score brownie points and I would call it I would name it after my husband. I would call it the John boat. There we go.
There you go.
That will score me some points.
Yeah. Yeah. You got
That's how I can justify buying the yacht. Or maybe get after him.
Yeah, maybe we could settle for a kayak. It's easier to swallow a kayak. It's smaller. It's more affordable.
Oh yeah. Well, I have a friend who has a boat, so I don't ever need to buy a boat. So
nice.
There you go.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Don't buy a boat. Make friends who have boats.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like solid life advice. All right, and with that, we're going to end this portion of the rundown, and we'll come back and get more into this conversation with Thomas. He got some things he wants to talk about.
No matter which ballpark you're at, you want to rep your team. Now you can with 9+ Us. Welcome to the Big City Series. With every design available in your team's colors, you can fit in with the home crowd or stand out on the road. Either way, we have the colors you crave. Shop the Big City Series and find designs that rep your favorite baseball podcast, cheer from the cheap seats, and much more. Shop the Big City Series only at 9plusus.com.
Welcome back, baseball family. We're here with Thomas again, and we kind of jumped into the Houston Astros scandal a little bit during the rundown. We talked about trash cans, and Thomas, you said you don't want to talk about trash cans anymore, so we're going to have to make you talk about it at least one more time.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the trash cans is as the time that we record this, the Astros are 6-1, and 5 of those games have been on the road. And I'm just saying, quit banging the trash cans. It's helping,
Yeah, it is helping. It's like there's 2 revenge tours going on all at the same time.
You see, the reason I fear the trash can thing is because I don't have any patience. And something on my list, my life list, is I want to visit all the ballparks,
Yeah.
And I can't not wear Homer gear when I visit an away stadium, because how else are they going to know that I'm not a Yankees fan or a Red Sox fan,
Yeah.
And I just can foresee killing somebody in a stadium because they'll be banging something in my ear. But yeah, like the trash can stuff, like I get it. They cheated. They admitted to cheating. The whole thing about there wasn't any consequences. Hey, take that up with the players union. They have a strong union. It kept them secure. Everybody who wasn't in that union got, some sort of consequence. Yeah. And and the thing that's been kind of a conflict with me about it is that the fans didn't cheat. I wasn't part of the meeting where I was like, you know what, we should do a complicated system, using a camera system and trash cans and a buzzer on Altuve or whatever. Because I'll admit, him not taking the shirt off was really suspicious, Yeah. And then he tried to say it was a bad tattoo on his chest. I don't know. But like so real quick though, to talk about your guest with the Rangers, something he said really, really struck a nerve with me. And that was about the controversy with the home series that happened while the city was underwater. And all I wanted to say, what was his name?
John Moore.
Remember?
Moore, yeah.
John, I just wanted to say on behalf of Houston, I am so sorry that we flooded. I am so sorry that the whole city was underwater and I had to almost hitch a ride with the Cajun Navy to get from one side to the other because my mom was trapped in her house. So I'm sorry that it screwed up your season ticket pass thing or whatever, but I just thought it was really crappy. Like, to not honor the switch. You know, obviously I'm biased, but
sure. Well, and what I've learned in my life is that there's not two sides to every story. There's more like 45.
yeah.
There's a lot of gray area, and and most of the time, all the sides of the story are super valid, right? Everybody has their own perspective and their own complications because of everything that happens. So, yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad you said that. I appreciate that. We need to hear it from both sides.
Well, and then so like when it comes to being an Astros fan, it runs so deep in my family that like I have family members that were Colt 45 fans. You know, it runs deep. So people to be like, well, just don't cheer for them anymore. It's like, well, that's not an option, you know?
Yeah.
And because also I actually looked this up recently. There's only 5 or 6 players actually on the roster still from that 2017 team. And I have a prediction, especially if they go deep this year, that even more are probably going to leave. So it's kind of like in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 seasons, should the stupid trash can thing be, you know, I heard somebody refer to us as the Yankees of the South now. And I was like, oh my God, you know,
wow. That's false on like 19 levels, maybe 27. Well, I don't know.
Not comparing the accomplishments. Not comparing the accomplishments. Yeah.
I couldn't help myself. I'm a Yankees fan.
I think we're what 26, you know, we just need 26 more World Series.
It'll work out. It'll be okay. Yeah. So, but go ahead.
No, I totally understand the thing. Like it runs deep. You can't just switch your allegiance. Right.
Yeah.
I talk all the time about how I was ready to quit on the Mariners when they signed Robbie Cano. I was like, no, that's a stupid contract. Like there's no reason to bring that guy in. We're not going to win this year. That's way too much money for him. And it's not going to work out. And so I was like, I'm done being a Mariners fan. That's it. And then 5 minutes later, I was like, I can't do it.
I'm kind of battling that right now with the Houston Texans, where I'm just like, I don't know how much football y'all watch, but yeah, where it's just like, I don't want to cheer for this team anymore because like the Astros, the cheating is one thing, but the Texans, it's literally, they're making like personnel decisions and guiding it with like group prayer. And I'm just like, that's not really an efficient way to run a football team, but yeah, you know.
So what's your favorite moment in the history of the Astros and maybe in the history of your fandom?
Yeah. So it would, if it weren't sullied by the cheating scandal, I would say winning the 2017 World Series, but that's obviously been tainted. So I think the runner up is the 2005 when you know, we got swept by the White Sox, but because at the time I was still a teenager and that was just like, oh my God, we're going to the World Series. Like, oh Lord, it was the most exciting thing in the world, you know? So yeah, that's probably it with the killer bees and everything.
The killer bees. Yeah.
I remember the killer bees. Well, and now, I mean, do you, having been a fan of Craig Biggio, do you cheer at all for Kevin Biggio for like success for him?
I do. Just because Craig Biggio, he's just like Bagwell, you know, he's beloved at Houston. He actually stayed at Houston and he was he might not be anymore, but he was like a high school in Houston's baseball coach, you know? So he was very involved. So yeah, like, yeah, it'd be cool to see a Biggio, you know, another Biggio. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'd like to see him get a ring. Maybe not at the expense of the Astros, but his father never got one. So
right. Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of us are actually pulling for those guys just because we grew up watching their dads.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another, who's the other?
There's Vlad
Guerrero.
Bo Bichette.
Bo Bichette. Yeah.
You know,
so there's three kids on that team now.
On that same team. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, cool. They are hot. They really can play ball, like really. And I feel like we knew that, but
not to this level.
It's astonishing. Yeah.
I feel like the Blue Jays are the hot ticket this year.
I'm telling you. That's what my meaningless prediction said.
It is.
Do you make meaningless predictions, Thomas?
No. I try, like because I'm just so not objective, you know, like
I love it.
I'm just going to pick the Astros to win. I'm going to pick the Yankees to lose. I'm going to pick, actually, I'm not much of a Yankees hater. I hate the St. Louis Cardinals. I hate them. I'm sorry. I don't, it's just like, I think I'm sorry. You're not a Cardinals fan, are you?
No. Okay. I don't ever do that.
I find their fans intolerable. And I think maybe that's just from back when the Astros were in the National League.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was I think it started with the 04 playoffs where they knocked us out. Yeah, I think that was in the league championship. But I don't even remember what the question was. I'm just passionate with hate for the Cardinals.
Okay. I love it so much because a lot of people around all of baseball think that the Cardinals fans are the most accommodating. They're the most knowledgeable. They're the friendliest.
Really?
Yes. This is a
Really?
prominent belief system. Yeah.
I've met other Cardinals haters. There's more of us.
Oh, good. Okay. We're back to telling both sides of the story. This is awesome.
Yes.
And we always talk about the Cardinals, that they're just the most boring team in baseball.
Maybe that's also part of it.
It's like
because it's like Alabama, where not only are they dominant, it's boring dominant. So it's the worst of both worlds.
Right. They're too good to be upset. Yeah.
Yeah, that they have like their Cardinals way, that seems to work
every year.
And
that's right.
Like, yeah, they're just, we said it's a safe.
Before the trash can scandal, the big scandal was the Cardinals hacking into the Astros,
Right.
Which I don't even think it was hacking. I just think it was somebody went from the Astros organization to the Cardinals and took the passwords with them. So should have changed your passwords, Astros. That was stupid. That was pretty stupid.
Somebody in HR dropped the ball.
Woo, they dropped that ball
pretty significantly. Like that's a big HR oversight.
That's like dropping a can of corn.
I could see that though. Just like some guy sitting in the Cardinals front office. It's like, I wonder if my password still works.
Yeah, on a laptop. Look at that.
Come on.
I don't even remember what they did. Right. I don't even actually remember what they did with the information.
I think it was just scouting reports. It wasn't
Yeah. I don't remember.
Page
either.
Turner.
Yeah. That was a Vince Flynn novel. The most recent one. No. All right, Thomas, I got to ask you, what do you hope to see in your lifetime in baseball? Like what's the one thing you're holding out for still? I know you want to go see all the ballparks. We all do.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Let's see.
Do you want to see somebody hit 400 or, something like that, like milestones?
I might hit I can't remember which of the two of you has an opinion about it, but I would like to see universal designated hitter.
Oh, we both have opinions.
Yeah, I know. And I can't, because it's just like the way I see it is I get it that it changes the strategy of the lineup and all that crap. I get that. But I'm just like, from an objective standpoint, it's literally you saying, hey, let's throw a guy out there who's not good at it and just see how it works. Like, you don't do that in any other sport where you're like specifically like, no, he's on his own. Like, put him out there in a situation that he's not going to excel. Because you'll see that, like, I think it's also just unfair because you have these guys that play, and this was, I think it was a couple of years ago, it was one of the non-Astros World Series, and I just remembered it. It was the pitcher in the NL, and the game went long, and he had to bat because they were playing in AL rules, and they were like, yes, this is his first major league bat. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, that's the first time you throw a guy into a batting situation where he's got to hit a major league pitch, first time ever at the pro level in the World Series. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah. To me, that's astonishing because, and I'm on the other side of this argument, I think they're baseball players, and you don't get to the pros without having at-bats.
But when you don't do it,
I understand
you
that.
lose it. We saw that today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah. We got to go
to the batting cage. Yep.
Yeah.
Humbling experience.
Quite. Brad will never be the same.
No, never.
He's anatomically different.
Did you get the vibration hands?
He broke a bat.
I broke a bat. It hurt. I forgot how that felt. It hurt so bad. Like, my hands were all messed up. And then I had a ball, like, it was coming from a pitching machine. It still hit me. I tried to get out of the way, and it just like came across and hit me right in the It hurt. Oh my gosh. I was like screaming and swearing. It hurt.
Yeah, we got it all on video. It's pretty terrific. check your local TikTok for footage getting hit with a baseball.
I mean, that's also like, it's kind of like crashes in NASCAR. We all enjoy, with the exception of when dudes get hit like straight in the grill, we all enjoy watching a guy get hit with a ball sometimes,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like
The collective in the
yeah,
stadium.
It's
is
so good.
especially
satisfying.
it's especially satisfying when they get, because usually if they're getting beamed on purpose, they're getting hit in like the butt or something. So it's like, it's not going to cause any damage, but you're like, that could not have felt good,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually were reading about, we're looking up stuff about getting hit by a pitch today, and we read about the one where Robin Ventura charged Nolan Ryan, and he said that he's like, it hit me so hard and it hurt so bad. He's like, I was just out of my mind and I started charging the mound. I came to about halfway and I thought, well, I can't go back now.
Yeah,
But it's Nolan Ryan.
But it's Nolan Ryan.
Once you charge,
poor guy.
So good.
yeah, that's one of the few things in life you can't take back is what you're about. Once you make that first forward momentum, you gotta.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I'm sure Bryce Harper really wants that helmet throwback too.
Oh yeah, it's the best. So okay, when was the last time you played a game of catch?
Of catch? Oh my God. Oh wow, it could really have been. I used to work at a police department. I was not a cop, and we did a charity baseball game, and they stuck me in right field, and no one hit to me, and I smoked a cigarette. Like I was smoking cigarettes out. That's how like little action I was getting. That was probably the last time I've even put a mitt on my hands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Heaters in right field.
Yeah.
You're like the baby out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'll say like that is something I wish we had back in baseball, is a guy like Babe Ruth just eating in the dugout and smoking in the dugout.
I do remember there's one time I was watching a Mariners game and they're just getting beat down, one of the thousands of times. And Lou Pinella's in the dugout and you can see him over hiding in the corner, just like head down, and you see smoke coming up. I think it was an ESPN game even.
Yeah.
And the guys, there's like, well, Lou picked a bad day to quit smoking.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I only asked Thomas because we both played catch yesterday for the first time in a while.
Long time.
In a while. It was a terrific experience. So if you get the chance, you ought to, because it was cathartic, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna need a child pretty much. That's gonna be the only because my husband's not gonna play catch with me, so I'm gonna. So I'm looking at least 5 to 6 to 7 years until.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I want to ask you about the Astros this year. Like you talked a little bit about how they pretty much had full roster turnover during that time.
Yep.
Do you think they'll be completely vindicated if they win the title this year?
Yes, I do. I truly think if they win a World Series this year, that it's like they're under a microscope. If they try to cheat again, they're stupid, because everywhere you go, like even when you're at home, every away team is going to be watching probably every player, everything. So if they win it, especially this season, I don't consider the Dodgers a legitimate championship. And it's fine. They could consider the Astros not a legitimate champion too. That's fine. But yeah, I truly do think if they win the World Series, even if they go deep in the playoffs, I think it is going to vindicate that, like, hey, it wasn't just the trash cans,
Yeah. New personnel, new system, everything's new. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
With most of the people who are there, your 4 or 5 big stars, So yeah. I would be okay. This is something I've seen like other Astros fans I know say, like, I would trade a World Series win this year just to get that monkey off our back for another rebuild.
Totally.
Because and that's just the ebb and flow of baseball. It's going to end someday. So, I'd rather us win now and end on a high note than go out with a whimper, and it's going to take 17 years for us to win another World Series,
Right. And that's too bad that that's how it goes. It's a long stretch between series, especially with the tanking and everything that's going on.
Well, and, and as an Astros fan, it's like in between the Killer Bees era and the current era, it was, they had, was it 300 loss it was either
Yeah, it was
300 or
bad.
400 loss seasons in a row.
Wow.
And it was super, it got super compounded by, they lost all their TV deals in Houston. You couldn't even watch the games. And as a consequence of that, the price of admission skyrocketed, all the, like the cost of a beer skyrocketed. So it was a really bad period for the Astros, and then they got a new owner and he lowered the prices of everything and made it family friendly. And so, but you can't expect to be on top forever. So
do you think the Houston Astros of today are more accommodating to the fan experience than they were when you were coming up?
Oh yeah. I mean, at least during that period of time.
Yeah.
Everything before that, everything before that, I wouldn't have been an adult, so I wasn't really paying for anything. So I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today's actually the 56th or the 57th anniversary of the Astrodome being built. I didn't know.
Oh,
that.
nice.
I saw that on the. Yeah,
It worked out.
That's great.
Yeah. Pure
I didn't
coincidence.
realize that it had that sweeping of an effect, being that bad. I just remember that the Mariners were coming close to the playoffs and missing, obviously, but still losing to the 100-loss Astros. And I was so mad. They get swept by them. They lose 2 out of 3. It's like, what is going on in Seattle? They're beating everybody else in the division. But golly. Yeah, I would get so mad, and I still am upset at the Astros about that. More so about that than the trash can thing, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's very upsetting. But I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
We have a few more minutes. So you talked about the stars, the big guys. I'm curious if you feel like, I mean, it hasn't so far, but is the George Springer going to be significant for the Astros?
I don't know. I'm actually not. I'm not very good with that kind of stuff. So I would say, I guess my honest answer would be that it's only a weekend, so it's hard to tell. But
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I know. Well, I know that the offense has just been rocking. So
yeah, rocks.
If we could just play the A's for the rest of the year, I mean, that'll be great. Just 140 more games in Oakland,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't think Oakland wants that.
No.
Yeah, I don't think they want to play that many games in that stadium.
No.
But Thomas, why don't you go ahead and tell us where we can find you?
So you can, I'm the host of the No Redeeming Qualities podcast. You can find that at nrqpodcast.com or anywhere podcasts are found. And an episode drops every Tuesday morning. It's a comedy podcast. I host it with my writing partner, Bob and Zipp. That's kind of our duo name. It is a comedy podcast, but it's more than just two fat guys yelling at each other. I'm a writer and Bob's a stand-up comedian. So we actually try to bring a little, there's plenty of just, talking and, just, lesson and stuff. But
yeah,
we actually try to, prepare material and stuff. And if you go to nrqpodcast.com, because it's on our podcast feed, but you got to dig for it. But if you go to the website, we also do fully scripted comedy, audio dramas like radio plays. So just a quick pitch on those. The first one's called Wheels of Justice. It is a true crime parody about the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. He is a paraplegic man. So we wrote a mystery about somebody pushing him down the stairs, and only Bob and I can solve the case. And so it's an hour-long, fully scripted comedy, and it's not political. I always have to throw that in there. It just involves the governor. We don't even say the word Republican or Democrat, no politics jokes. And then the second one we made is called Beer Run. We made it last summer. It's a little shorter. It's about half the length of Wheels of Justice, but it is the premise is Bob and I are stuck in quarantine like everyone was, and we build a teleporter to break into a liquor store to bring booze back, and it malfunctions and it starts picking up other travelers. So we end up getting a time traveler and a superhero, and it's just chaos. And Wheels of Justice is a fully cast thing. So it has about 15 cast members, and Beer is only Bob and I, and we're also voice performers. So I perform 4 characters and Bob does 3. So
wow, that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I appreciate you plugging that. That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. Oh, and then one extra thing, something I started this year, started about a month ago, a little side project I'm doing on YouTube called The H is for Hell. And it's a year in the life of a Houston sports fan, because with the exception of the Astros looking hot now, it has been abysmal. And so you can find that at No Redeeming Qualities on YouTube. That drops every Friday morning. It's only like 10, 15 minutes, and it's me pretty much just recapping all the terrible things that are happening. And then also
That's awesome.
So I gotta tell you, Thomas. So when you came, so Thomas submitted to what is it, podcastguest.com? Is that where we?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta tell you though, when I saw your name come across, I think do you have somebody who does social media for you, or do you do that yourself?
It
Like
depends. The Instagram is just me.
Okay, so you followed me on Instagram about 2 years ago, something
Really?
like that. Did. That's how I was actually introduced to your podcast. Because I
Really?
followed you back. You had some really killer memes.
Yeah.
So I saw your name come. Like, this guy's coming on the podcast. I know who he is.
Wow,
That is a true story.
that is a small world.
Truly,
That's awesome.
truly a small
You saved
world.
that. He didn't tell me that before we started
Yeah.
this.
Held on to that one.
That was
It's a
really
small
nice.
world.
Yeah. So I thought that was super cool. If you want some really funny stuff on Instagram, go follow him. No redeeming.
Yeah.
No redeeming.
At
qualities.
NRQ Podcast.
There it is.
Yeah.
At NRQ podcast. Yeah.
That's
a good one.
awesome. Cool. Well, we'll thank Thomas for jumping on the show with us, and we'll kick it over, take
Wrap it up.
another break, and then we'll be right back. Thanks, Thomas.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, baseball family, like I said, that was Thomas Zipperer, or Zipp, of the No Redeeming Qualities podcast. We want to thank him so much for joining us. I had a bunch of fun with him. That was a great time. Actually, that was an interview that we recorded while I was in South Carolina at Brig's house. We had some trouble with the video, so we weren't able to get that on there, but it's just audios for those of you who like to go maybe watch it on YouTube. Unfortunately, it's not there. But anyway, before I get going, let me remind you, don't forget to jump on the shop, 9plusus.com. Spell it out, NINEPLUSUS.com. Tonight I have my perfect hat. It is it's like a heather gray. I'm not sure exactly what color it is, but it's a gray. It says perfect on it in white with a red backwards K. It's fantastic. I love this hat. We also have this design in shirts as well. Shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, tank tops, whatever you want. Oh, 3/4 length raglan if you want to get those. I'm also wearing my pirate shirt. I wear this shirt all the time. It's one of my favorite designs of ours. It did win our design tournament several months ago, so the people have spoken. It is one of their favorite designs as well. Hop on 9plusus.com and grab yourself something nice. Maybe a little treat for the summertime before school starts for the kids. But also head over to baseballtogether.com. You can submit to the mailbag there. You can send us an email. You can send us your questions, comments, concerns, snide remarks. We're open to all of it. We welcome it. If you send us a question for a mailbag episode or anything like that, then we will give you a shout on the podcast for sure. If you have any guests that you would like us to book for this podcast, let us know, and we will do our best to get whoever you want to hear, because that's what we're all about. We want to put together the best podcast for our listeners because we care about you. But baseball family, that is all for now. I'll catch you next week.